Welcome, everybody, to a deep dive into dream interpretation.
Dream interpretation, yes.
Today, we're exploring excerpts from a program led by Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estés.
Oh, fascinating.
She's the Jungian analyst and author of Women Who Run with the Wolves.
Oh, yeah, I know that book.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
And so, you're here because you want to understand your dreams better, right?
Yeah, I do. I have such vivid dreams, but I never remember them.
We're going to try to unlock those hidden meanings, right? Tap into the power of your dreams.
Okay, I like it. Let's do it.
So, dreams, what are they?
Oh, man. Dreams are like secret messages from your subconscious.
Okay.
Glimpses into parts of ourselves, I think, that we don't really always have access to in our waking lives.
Interesting. So they're kind of like a letter from a mysterious part of ourselves.
Exactly.
That's funny you should put it that way.
Oh.
Because Dr. Estés, she actually calls dreams letters from home. She talks about how these messages can give us insights into everything from our health to our relationships.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah. In fact, she even tells a story about a woman who dreamt of a geode inside her body.
A geode.
And it turned out to be a tumor.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so that really gets your attention, Makes you think about how important those messages might be.
Exactly.
Yeah. We dismiss them as random nonsense a lot of times.
Yeah.
But what if they are trying to tell us something?
Exactly. So if dreams are important messages, how do we start tuning in? How do we remember them?
Okay, so think about it this way. We dream 5 to 7 dreams a night. That's like 35 to 49 dreams a week.
49 dreams a week.
Yeah, it's a lot of potential insight we're missing if we don't remember them.
Wow.
Oh.
That's incredible. So how do we become better dream recallers?
Okay. Well, Dr. Estés, she suggests that intention is key, like telling your mind, hey, I'm serious about remembering these.
Right.
You address the dream maker before you go to sleep and state your intention to remember your dreams.
So it's not just passively hoping you'll remember. It's like actively engaging with this idea of dreaming.
Yes, exactly. Like almost like a ritual in a way. And she also suggests keeping a journal, a dream journal, by your bed. Ready to capture any of those images as soon as you wake up.
Okay.
Even if they're just little fragments, could be valuable.
Like you're a detective gathering evidence.
Exactly. Yes. Like a dream detective.
So what if someone's not a big writer?
Well, she says you can use a voice recorder. She actually tells this charming story about her aunts, encouraging her to recall her dreams from a really young age, like as a little kid. It's so cute.
Yeah, it's like a lifelong conversation with your subconscious.
Yeah.
So let's say we've gotten good at remembering the dreams. How do we actually start interpreting them? Like, what's that process like?
Okay, so she presents this approach that's surprisingly straightforward. It's based on the psychoanalytic tradition, but focuses on your own personal connections.
So it's not just looking things up in a dream dictionary.
Right. Dream dictionaries can be fun, but they often miss the nuance.
Yeah.
Right. So first, you write down the dream, as much detail as possible.
Okay.
Then, identify all the nouns, the people, places, things.
Okay, got it.
And then for each noun, you list your own personal associations. So anything that comes to mind when you think of that image or word.
So like if I dreamt about a cat, it could be independence, curiosity, maybe a little mischief, depending on my experience.
Exactly. Those personal associations are key.
Okay.
Then you read the dream out loud, but substituting the nouns with your personal associations.
Wow.
And then you reflect on how the essence of the dream, might be playing out in your waking life.
It sounds like you're translating a code.
It is, kind of, yeah, a secret code from your subconscious.
But I imagine that process could be really challenging for people.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And Dr. Estés acknowledges that. She says, seek out guidance, maybe a dream group or therapist, if you're finding it difficult. And she also has a really interesting perspective on the value of dreams, particularly for creative people.
Oh, okay.
She says that, the dream maker doesn't have the same censorship as our waking ego.
Oh, interesting.
So it can lead to really innovative, unexpected ideas.
So artists and writers can use their dreams as a source of inspiration.
Precise.
Like a creative wellspring.
Yes. Now, beyond just those everyday dreams, she also talks about some very unusual dream types that you might encounter on your dream journey.
Oh, okay. This is where it gets really intriguing.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Well, one fascinating type is the precognitive dream. Have you ever had a dream that seemed to predict a future event?
I've definitely had dreams that felt eerily similar to real-life events,
Yeah.
but I always dismiss them as coincidence.
Right, right. Well, Dr. Estes suggests that precognitive dreams are actually more common than we think. Yeah. She even shares a story about her own precognitive dream that predicted a minor disagreement at her dentist's office.
Oh, wow.
Most of these dreams, they involve ordinary events.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes they can carry a sense of foreboding, especially if they hint at potential danger.
Okay, that's a little spooky. So are you saying our dreams can actually tell the future?
Well, it's not about predicting the future with certainty, you know? Our choices and circumstances are always changing.
Yeah, that's true.
But maybe these dreams are offering glimpses into potential outcomes or highlighting paths we might be headed towards.
It makes you think about the nature of time, and whether our dreams exist outside of our linear perception of it.
It certainly does. Now, another unusual dream type is the visitation dream,
Visitation dream.
or apparition dream, as it's sometimes called. This is where we encounter spirits of people we know, or even people we don't know, often bearing messages.
This reminds me of those stories, in religious texts where angels or divine beings appear to people in their dreams.
Exactly. And these dreams can be incredibly powerful, especially when they involve loved ones who've passed away.
Yeah.
They can offer comfort, closure, or even a sense of continued connection.
It's like the veil between the worlds becomes thin in our dreams.
It really does, yeah.
Uh,
Another type that challenges our understanding of reality is the lucid dream.
lucid dream.
Have you ever become aware that you were dreaming while you were still in the dream?
I think I've had moments of lucidity in dreams, but I've never been able to fully control the dream,
Yeah.
like which direction it was going.
Yeah, well, that's the fascinating thing about lucid dreaming, right?
Uh-huh.
It suggests this level of conscious awareness within the dream state.
Okay.
It blurs the lines between our waking and dreaming realities.
Yeah.
And sometimes, with practice, people can even learn to direct their dreams.
Wow, that would be amazing to be able to consciously explore your subconscious like that.
It really would. And then we have what Dr. Estes calls the disembodied voice dream.
Disembodied voice dream.
This is where you hear guidance or messages without any visuals. Sometimes people don't even hear a voice, but more experience it as just a deep knowing.
That's interesting. It makes you think about different ways of receiving information.
Exactly. Now, another type of dream that can sometimes cause confusion or even guilt is the sensual or sexual dream.
Oh, okay.
These dreams involve strong physical sensations and can even lead to arousal or orgasm.
Yeah, I imagine these dreams could be particularly perplexing for people.
Right, right. Well, Dr. Estes emphasizes that we shouldn't judge ourselves for the content of our dreams.
Yeah.
She suggests that even a sensual dream might have a deeper symbolic meanings beyond that literal interpretation.
So it's about exploring those symbolic connections
Exactly.
to uncover the messages about our waking lives.
Precisely. Next, we have a dream type that she calls the cry of silence dream.
Cry of silence.
These are dreams characterized by a profound silence. It can either signal a need for attention or a deep sense of peace.
Silence in a dream. That sounds almost paradoxical.
It does, doesn't it? But think about it. Sometimes silence can be a powerful form of communication.
Yeah, that's true.
Dr. Estes describes two main types of silence dreams.
Okay.
The cry for help, silence where the dreamer feels anxious or panicked, and the lolo contento silence, which conveys this sense of well-being, a deep rest.
So it's the overall feeling of the dream that tells you whether that silence is positive or negative.
Exactly, exactly. It's about tuning into that emotional tone. And finally, we have waking dreams or visions. These occur in that twilight zone between wakefulness and sleep.
Oh, yeah, I've definitely experienced those hypnagogic images. They can be pretty surreal.
They really can. And, she explains that these visions, you can interpret them similarly to regular dreams.
Okay.
Using the same techniques, symbol analysis, personal associations. She even mentions Carl Jung's concept of active imagination, where you consciously engage with dream fragments while awake, allow the dream to kind of unfold further.
So you're actively participating in the dream even if you've woken up.
Yeah, isn't that fascinating? Makes you wonder about the relationship between our conscious and unconscious minds and how fluid that boundary really is.
It really does. So with all these different dream types, are there any common themes that people experience regardless of their culture?
That's a great question, and that's exactly what we'll be exploring next.
Oh, good.
Dr. Estés delves into common dream themes and their archetypal interpretations. But as always, she emphasizes that personal associations are key to unlocking the unique meaning of your dreams.
I'm excited to learn more about these common themes.
Yeah, me too.
And what they might reveal about our shared human experience.
Yeah, you're right. There are some really fascinating common threads that weave their way through our dreams no matter where we come from.
Okay.
These common themes, as Dr. Estés points out, they often tap into those universal archetypes, those fundamental human experiences, anxieties that we all share.
That makes a lot of sense. So let's dive into some of these common dream themes.
Okay.
Where do we begin?
Well, perhaps the most common and often the most unsettling is the falling dream.
Oh, yeah.
That sudden sense of losing your footing and plummeting into the unknown, it can be quite jarring, can't it?
Oh, absolutely. I've had my fair share of falling dreams.
Yeah.
And they always leave you with such a jolt.
Right.
It's that feeling of helplessness as you're falling.
Yeah, and Dr. Estés suggests that these falling dreams often reflect a sense of insecurity, instability in our waking lives. Think about it. It could be fear of failure, feeling overwhelmed by a situation, or just a general sense of things spiraling out of control.
So it's like the dream is mirroring those feelings of groundlessness we might be experiencing.
Exactly. But here's where it gets interesting. As with all dream symbols, the interpretation can shift depending on the context.
Okay.
Sometimes a falling dream can actually represent a positive change.
A positive change. How so?
Well, imagine it as a symbolic letting go. It could be shedding old patterns, beliefs that no longer serve us, allowing us to, in a sense, fall into a new way of being.
That's an interesting perspective. It's
Yeah.
not necessarily about a literal fall, but more of a metaphorical shift.
Precisely. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, we have the exhilarating experience of flying.
Yes.
Those dreams can be so liberating. Gives us a sense of limitless possibility. Have you ever had one of those?
Oh, many times. Flying dreams are the best. You wake up feeling so light, energized, like you can conquer anything.
Right. Dr. Estés describes these flying dreams as symbolizing a sense of wholeness, a feeling of being like above it all, almost as if you're transcending those everyday worries.
Yeah, like the dream is giving you wings to soar above your challenges.
Yes, yes. But she also cautions against flying too high, like Icarus.
Oh, right.
In the Greek myth.
Yeah.
It can be a reminder to stay grounded even as we reach for our dreams.
So it's about finding that balance, reaching for the stars, but keeping our feet on the ground.
Exactly. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about a dream theme that's often a bit more embarrassing. The dream of showing up naked in public.
Oh, yeah.
It's that mortifying moment when you realize you're completely exposed and everyone is staring.
I think we've all been there in dreamland at some point. It's one of those universal anxieties, right?
It is. It really is. And Dr. Estés suggests that these dreams often symbolize a feeling of vulnerability or unpreparedness. It could reflect situations in our waking lives where we feel insecure or like we're not measuring up.
So it's like the dream is magnifying those insecurities we might have about ourselves.
Yes. But she also offers another interpretation.
Okay.
Nakedness can also represent authenticity, a shedding of pretense.
Right.
Think about it. It could be a symbol of embracing our true selves, flaws and all.
That's a really powerful way of looking at it. It's about letting go of the masks we wear and being comfortable in our own skin.
Exactly. Now, for another anxiety-provoking dream theme, the dream of being unprepared for a test.
Oh, yeah.
Or an exam.
Ugh.
That classic nightmare where you suddenly realize you haven't studied at all and the test is about to begin?
Oh, that takes me right back to my school days.
Right.
I can practically feel that panic.
Well, Dr. Estés suggests that these dreams often symbolize a feeling of being, unprepared for a challenge in our waking lives. It could be a work project or a relationship issue, any situation where we feel out of our depth.
So it's like the dream is giving us a little nudge saying, hey, you might want to do a bit more preparation for this one.
Exactly. It's about assessing our readiness. Now, for a dream theme that's a bit less metaphorical, a bit more, visceral.
Okay.
The dream of toilet troubles.
Oh, yeah.
The ones where you can't find a toilet, they're all out of order, there's an endless line.
Right.
And you're desperate.
Oh, yeah. I've definitely had those. They're surprisingly common, aren't they?
They are.
What's the deeper meaning behind those?
Well, Dr. Estes connects these dreams to the need to release emotional baggage or address a self-care emergency.
Okay.
It's that feeling of being overwhelmed, stuck, unable to process difficult emotions, or take care of our basic needs.
So it's like our subconscious is saying, hey, pay attention to your well-being, both physically and emotionally.
Precisely. It's about recognizing when we're holding on to things that no longer serve us and finding healthy ways to let go. Now, another common theme, one that evokes a sense of fear, is the dream of being imprisoned or trapped.
Yes.
That feeling of being confined, restricted, unable to escape.
Those dreams can be so claustrophobic, like the walls are closing in.
They really are. And Dr. Estes suggests that these dreams often symbolize a feeling of being stuck, stifled in some aspect of our waking lives.
Okay.
It could be a job we hate, a relationship that's no longer fulfilling, even just a limiting belief that's holding us back.
It's like the dream is urging us to break free from whatever is holding us captive, whether it's an external situation or an internal struggle.
Exactly. And often those external and internal struggles, they're intertwined. Now, closely related to that feeling of being trapped is the dream of being chased. That adrenaline-pumping experience of running for your life, desperately trying to escape whatever's pursuing you.
Oh, those are the worst. You wake up, your heart's racing, you feel like you've just run a marathon.
Right. And Dr. Estes believes that these dreams often symbolize a need to confront a significant issue in our waking lives.
Okay.
It could be a fear we've been avoiding, a conflict we haven't addressed, an important decision we've been putting off.
So rather than running away, the dream is encouraging us to turn and face whatever's chasing us.
Exactly. Sometimes facing our fears head-on is the only way to overcome them. Now, shifting to a different kind of fear, let's talk about the dream of losing teeth or hair.
Okay.
These dreams can be particularly unsettling
Yes.
because they tap into those primal fears of losing strength, vitality, even our identity.
I've had those dreams, and they always leave me feeling a bit shaken.
Hmm.
There's something so vulnerable about losing your teeth or your hair.
There really is. And Dr. Estes explains that, teeth are symbolic of our ability to grasp, to grind, to process experiences. So losing teeth in a dream can represent a feeling of powerlessness, a loss of control, difficulty asserting ourselves.
So like we've lost our bite or ability to stand up for ourselves.
Precisely. And hair, as you mentioned, it's often associated with vitality and strength. Losing hair in a dream can symbolize a depletion of energy, a creative block, a feeling of being, diminished or weakened.
Like our life force is draining away.
Yeah.
So what do we do when we have these dreams?
Well, it's about paying attention to those areas in our lives where we might be feeling drained, depleted, finding ways to replenish our energy, our inspiration. It could be as simple as taking a break, spending time in nature, engaging in activities that nourish our soul.
So it's about self-care.
Exactly. Recognizing when we need to refuel, recharge. Now, another common dream theme that can evoke feelings of anxiety, frustration, is the dream of missing our transportation. The ones where you miss your flight, your train, your bus,
Right.
leaving you stranded, unable to reach your destination.
Oh, those dreams are so stressful. You wake up feeling like you're already behind schedule.
Right. Dr. Estes suggests that these dreams often symbolize a feeling of being stuck or unable to progress in some aspect of our waking lives. She explains that the mode of transportation in the dream often represents our approach to life, our chosen path.
So if we dream about missing a flight, it could mean we're feeling stuck in our career or that we're not making progress toward our goals.
Precisely. It's about examining whether our current approach is serving us or if we need to reassess our direction, find a more effective way to move forward.
It's like the dream is saying, hey, this route isn't working. You might want to consider a different path.
Now, for a dream theme that can be either delightful or terrifying, depending on the animal, is the dream of encountering animals.
Okay.
Animals have always held profound symbolic meaning.
Yeah.
In dreams, they often tap into our primal instincts and emotions.
It's fascinating how animals can evoke such strong feelings.
They do.
I remember a dream I had where I was being chased by a giant spider, and I woke up feeling terrified.
Oh, wow. Well, Dr. Estes explains that, the specific animal and its behavior can provide clues. For example, a ferocious animal might represent a threat or a repressed emotion, while a gentle animal might symbolize a nurturing force.
So it's like the dream is tapping into our animal nature, showing us those instinctive parts of ourselves that we might not always be aware of.
Exactly. And she notes that encountering injured or sick animals can be a sign that we need to pay attention to our own well-being,
Oh, okay.
address an
It's
imbalance.
like our subconscious is using the animal as a metaphor for our own health.
And finally, we have a dream theme that's often associated with creativity, new beginnings, the potential for growth, the dream of pregnancy.
Yes.
Even for people who aren't planning to have children, these dreams can be incredibly powerful,
They are.
symbolic. And Dr. Estes explains that pregnancy dreams often symbolize the birth of new ideas, projects, phases in our lives.
Okay.
It's that feeling of gestation, of nurturing, developing something new within
It's like
ourselves.
a dream is reflecting our creative potential.
Exactly. And just as with a physical pregnancy, there can be challenges along the way.
Uh-huh.
Difficulties or complications during the pregnancy in the dream might symbolize obstacles or setbacks we're facing and bringing those creative visions to life.
So it's about recognizing those potential roadblocks and finding ways to overcome them, to nurture those fledgling dreams.
Now, with all these different dream themes, it can feel a bit overwhelming, right?
Right.
To remember, analyze every little detail. But Dr. Estes offers some reassuring words. She emphasizes that the essential messages will come through,
Okay.
even if we don't consciously remember or interpret every single dream.
That's good to hear. It takes the pressure off a bit.
It does. She explains that our psyche has a way of repeating important messages until they are received, understood.
It's like our subconscious is a persistent teacher,
Yes.
patiently nudging us toward those insights that we need for growth.
Precisely. And for those particularly troubling dreams, the ones that haunt us, she offers some specific techniques.
Okay, I'm curious about those because those kinds of dreams can be so distressing.
One of her suggestions is surprisingly simple, but often effective. Speak the dream aloud to another person. It's as if, by sharing the dream, you're releasing some of its power.
Like shining a light on those shadowy fears, letting them dissipate.
Exactly. And if speaking it aloud isn't enough, she suggests drawing a picture of the dream and writing its story, then sharing that with someone.
That's interesting. It's almost like you're externalizing the dream,
You are.
giving it a form outside of your own mind.
And by engaging with it on multiple levels, visual, narrative, and or personal, you gain a sense of control over it.
So it's not about suppressing those difficult dreams, but finding healthy ways to process them.
Now, before we wrap up this part, I want to emphasize a point she makes repeatedly. Dreams are ultimately about wholeness.
Okay.
They're guiding us toward integration,
Uh,
becoming more fully ourselves.
it's like they're offering a map to our own inner landscape, helping us to navigate the terrain of our psyche and discover the hidden treasures.
And that journey of self-discovery, it's ongoing.
Yeah.
There's always more to uncover,
Right,
more
yeah.
to understand,
Yeah.
more to integrate.
It's an adventure that never ends,
It really isn't.
a lifelong exploration of our inner cosmos. And with the tools we've learned from Dr. Estes, we're better equipped to embark on that journey.
You know, it is. It's about becoming more whole, more complete versions of ourselves.
It's not just about, like, decoding symbols,
Right.
or solving riddles, but integrating those insights into our lives.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that dreams, they don't always speak to us in this like straightforward literal language.
Right?
They use metaphor, symbol, archetype, like poetry or mythology.
That makes sense. It's like they're inviting us to use our imagination, our intuition,
Yes, exactly.
to uncover the meaning.
And just as a poem can have multiple interpretations, so too can a dream.
Yeah,
There's no single right answer, no dream dictionary that can unlock all the secrets.
So we have to be active participants in the process.
Yes.
Using our own personal experiences as guides.
Precisely. It's
Mhm.
about finding that resonance, those connections that feel true to you. Now, before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier, the structure of dreams.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned that Dr. Estes talked about how dreams often follow a four-part structure, like a story, right?
Yeah, I'm curious about that. Can you tell me more?
She calls it the 4 stages of the dream.
Okay.
And it's a fascinating way to look at how dreams unfold. First, we have the exposition. This sets the stage, introduces the characters, setting, lays the groundwork for the dream story.
Okay.
Then comes the mounting action, where tension and conflict build, pulls you deeper into the dream's narrative.
It's like the rising action in a novel.
Exactly. Then comes the crisis. This is the climax, the turning point where everything shifts. And finally, we have the lysis, or the resolution, the outcome.
So even though dreams can feel so chaotic, so random, there's often this underlying structure to them.
Yes, there is a narrative arc that gives them meaning and coherence. And Dr. Estes actually shares a really beautiful personal dream as an example of this structure.
Oh, okay.
Her dream of a rose bush growing out of a well.
Wow, that's a powerful image.
It is. It's this vivid image of perseverance, hope.
Can you tell me more about that?
Well, in the dream, she finds herself at the bottom of a well, and she's tending to this rose bush that she's been nurturing for years. And the rose bush represents this creative project, something she's been working on for a long time, facing rejection and setbacks.
It's like a metaphor for the creative process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in the dream, she sees the rose bush finally growing tall enough to reach the top of the well, and it bursts into bloom. This powerful image of her creative vision finally coming to fruition.
It's a reminder that even when we feel stuck, discouraged, we still have the inner resources to achieve our dreams.
Now, as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of dream interpretation, I want to leave you with a thought-provoking question that Dr. Estes poses. What recurring dream has your psyche been trying to get you to notice? And what might it be telling you?
That's a really good question. It encourages us to really pay attention to those persistent dream themes, those recurring images and scenarios.
Right. Those recurring dreams, they're often the most potent messengers. They highlight patterns, beliefs, unresolved issues that we might be overlooking.
Like they're saying, hey, this is important, pay attention.
Exactly. And by engaging with those recurring dreams, with curiosity, with courage, we can unlock profound insights, embark on a journey of healing, growth, and transformation.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive. I feel like I have a whole new appreciation for the power and the wisdom of dreams. Thank you so much for sharing your insights.
It's been my pleasure.
And to all of you listening, thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of dream interpretation. Remember, dreams are letters from home, guiding us toward wholeness. Sweet dreams.